Do you not use Riverside yet?
No, we do. Yeah, no, we
Oh,
use
okay, okay,
Riverside.
okay.
Yeah, yeah, we use Riverside. So how do you want to do
Okay.
this?
Well, welcome, Sela.
Thank you.
Okay, so for the audience to refamiliarize themselves with you, you have a podcast, Looking Through the Glass, with your daughter Giselle. I've had you both on. I had Giselle on, and now we're gonna have you on. And let me just say this in a really real way. This is gonna be a very human episode where you are fucking smack dab in the middle of humanity right now. Very real, very raw. Um I'm gonna be my natural self, and so wherever this goes, it will go. But I did want to start with, because we're gonna get into some real shit, but how we kind of connected, especially through, each other's podcast, really was about the healing that we've done. and
Yeah.
and kind of, especially as moms, taking that ownership and accountability for all the things that we know we did to continue generational trauma, and how we're trying to reverse that now. And but even like bigger than that, forgiving ourselves for those
Yeah.
things, and just for our humanity in general, and understanding we're not going to be perfect. So I think that's really been our super connection point. I think the other one is just our vulnerability and our willingness to show up however we're showing up in the moment. And it's not always polished, and it's not always, we're not necessarily considering what other people want from us, and I love that. So we are gonna get into some real shit, but I have a few questions, because I've never asked you some things, so I just am curious about a couple things. Okay.
Sure.
Your parents,
Hmm.
were they abusive?
Yes.
Okay, physically and
Yeah.
emotionally?
So my dad, not so much physically because my stepmom stopped him from spanking me. My
Oh,
dad
okay.
was more of a very narcissist, very
Mm.
hardcore narcissist. Um, and and what a narcissists do best is very self-centered. But he was physically abusive to my mother. Um,
Oh.
but they were divorced by the time I was 2 years old.
Okay.
But I do remember him being very abusive towards my, first stepmother. My father's on his 4th marriage right now.
Oh, okay. How many siblings do you have?
I am an only child, so I
Oh, I
have
didn't know that.
I have a stepbrother that I grew up with from the age of 2 to 10 with my abusive stepdad.
Oh, okay, this is
Very
your mom's, who's she remarried?
My mom remarried, when and so, okay, my mom was 14 and my dad was 16 when they got married.
Okay.
My mom had me at 15, my dad was 17. Very toxic background on my mom's side, big time. I don't know a whole lot because my dad never really told me a whole lot about his
Mhm.
childhood. Um like, knowing my grandmother, no, but I don't b people change through the years, I'm not
Exactly,
quite
and you
sure.
don't become abusive without having abuse in your history.
It kind of, yeah, that's the kind of but my father was, uh, an uh-oh baby, an
Oh,
oops baby.
okay.
My grandparents were done having children, so there's a huge age gap between my dad and the second youngest
So they
sibling.
had caregiver roles as siblings, I bet you,
I probably, considering
and,
there was such a different age gap,
uh-huh,
and
uh-huh, but they
and I
probably
know
weren't
that
nice about it.
only from some of uh my second stepmom, some of the things is that there was a lot of, older brother, bullying that was
Yes,
done t a lot
I
of
pegged
older
that
bullying.
immediately. Yeah,
Yeah,
sibling abuse, yeah.
yeah, so, but, my mother my mom, bless her heart, she just, did the best she could with what she could, like,
I
she
know it's a
wasn't hand
struggle to feel like you're talking shit about somebody you love, but
well, no,
it's okay to
I'm
say
not
that our
talking
mom was
yeah,
crazy.
no. My mom and I, she knows that with this podcast and doing this stuff, it's healing for me, and she's already said, "Say what you need to say."
Well, that's
You speak
really
your
cool
truth.
because my grandma would have been like, "You're talking about me?"
Oh, yeah. No, I guarantee that my grandma would have been that way too.
My mom might have been
And
cool. She might have been cool. She was pretty she she was tender-hearted, but, she might have been cool about it, but I don't know. She was a lot like my grandma sometimes.
on both sides, there was abuse. Not so much on my mom until later on, a little bit later on. I think there was more of my mom being abused and my mom just going through life abusing her
Yeah.
was more of what I suffered on my mom's side on the younger ages, not
Was she
knowing how
critical
to
of you?
oh yeah.
Okay, yeah.
She won't admit it, though.
Yeah,
She
of
won't
course.
admit it. Yeah,
Well,
no,
because
she
when you're a critical person like that, it's all coming from your own fear and your own shame, and you're
yeah.
only seeing it from this one place, so you're truly believing you're doing this from a place of love, and so
Yes,
it's like,
yes,
"No, this is how I
and
mean,
she
how
truly
else am I
does, and
gonna
she'll
show
cry,
them?"
and,
Yes.
she'll try to talk to me, and I feel bad because sometimes I just kinda have to shut her down on it, because it's like, "You're talking to me, but you're only talking to me from your space, and you're not talking to me from my space, and in this where I'm at right now, I'm not doing that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm deeper than that, and, either you're gonna meet me where the truth is, or we're just gonna not have the conversation because it's
Agree.
detrimental to me and my healing right now.
Yes.
It's triggering and it's, I love my mom and my mom I wouldn't be a lot of the way I am if it wasn't for influences by my mother.
Yeah.
My mom tried healing because there was a very bad relationship between her and her mom. And,
Mhm.
and my mom did attempt to heal and life really got in her way, so it to like
Well,
from
and the
a
thing
2 year
that people don't talk about enough is that, if your basic human needs are not being met and you're stressed about how you're literally gonna eat or sleep or clothe or bathe, there's no room for emotions because we don't deal with emotions when we're running from the bear. So when you're in
Yeah.
literal survival mode because you don't know how your next meal is gonna come or whatever. So if you have prolonged years of that type of stress, you're
Well,
gonna hit what you're gonna get.
it's we're not talking prolonged years of that kind of stress, we're talking prolonged generations with that kind of
Mhm.
stress. Literally.
Yeah.
Prolonged generations with that kind of stress.
Mhm.
So and that's one of the reasons why I really am so grateful to have Looking Through the Glass with Giselle, because she didn't have to forgive me for any of my shit, and she forgave me before she even dealt with her like, she's still dealing with it, but she
Yeah.
forgave me before she even dealt with it, you
Yeah.
know? And it's been it's been a huge blessing learning to become a podcaster, and I'm still kind of in the imposter syndrome
Oh,
area,
sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
you
know
know?
what that feels like. Yeah, even
Because I'm
like
like, I am so not qualified to be a podcaster, but like I look at Giselle and I'm like, yeah, she's got this in the book. Like she's right where she belongs. She's known this for a long time. Like I look at her and I watch her go and I'm like, yeah, look at that. Look at my girl go. But then when it comes to me, I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I have no
well, I
idea what
mean,
I'm
I don't have a single clue what I'm doing. It's funny to me when people will like comment on how well prepared I was or I ask great questions or whatever. I'm like,
There's no
listen, I
preparedness.
don't fucking prepare at all, ever.
Yeah.
The only thing, one time someone had sent me their book. And so right before the interview, I skimmed some stuff because it was something I was interested. It was about astrology or something, psychic. I don't remember.
Mhm.
So I skimmed the book. So one time I did that, and then if if their shit's interesting, I'll actually, like, go to their but this is, like, 5 minutes before I'm about to meet them, literally. I'm like, "Who am I about to talk
Yeah.
to?" I sit down about 15 minutes before, and I go, "Who am I about to talk to? Oh, okay, what are they about? Oh, okay." And then if something in that little thing interests me, I'll go to their website. Like, the source cards, I really was interested in them, so I did go to their website. I literally ordered their book, you know, like, I was like, "Oh, hell yeah, I'm so into this." But, like, most of the time 5 minutes before, I have learned who the hell I'm about to talk to, and I literally listen to my intuition and I go, "Where do I wanna start?" What
Mhm.
we never talk about what they wanna talk about, ever. I don't give a shit. Like, I'm always just like, "Well, I have questions, so let me just ask you this real quick," and then it just goes from there. I mean, 90% of the time, it works out, but that's why I've started getting more selective, is that 10% is too much, and I don't
Yeah.
fucking wanna talk to those people anymore. But, yeah, I think the reason is that we're comparing ourselves to these other people who have what we think we need, or you know what I mean? And we're like, "Oh,
Yeah.
well, that's not how they do it," or "I don't look like them when they're doing it." And
We had a really bad experience with somebody, and she was like we were preparing, and she was like, "I read the energy, and, I don't like what I'm seeing." How do you not like
oh,
mine and Giselle's energy? I'm like, I'm
exactly.
just
I'm like,
gonna
"Honey, if
like
after someone said that to me, I'd be like, 'Then you're fucking bad juju, because 'cause we're
and
excellent.'"
she's like, "I go off of the energy, and I don't like your guys' energy." And what it was is we just weren't big enough for her. You know,
Yeah.
she didn't even realize that we were a mother-daughter duo. That's the very first thing that it states on our
Yeah, because
profile.
people don't read the fucking profiles.
Eh,
Of the fucking interview? Okay, let me just kind of throw out some, if you're okay with this, I'll
yeah,
just
no.
ask you, kind of in my head, a little bit of a checklist off the adverse childhood experiences questionnaire. Is that okay?
Oh, great. You're gonna have fun
Okay,
with this one.
okay. So, did you have a parent incarcerated or institutionalized?
Not until I was in my teenage years, and it was just, like, short, like, city stays for traffic tickets type things.
Okay, that's still a trauma.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Yeah.
you received physical abuse. Did you ever experience a sexual abuse?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Um, did
Multiple times.
anybody okay, yeah. Did anybody, like a parent, like, cuss at you
What do you
in
mean?
like, "Go fucking pick up your toys, blah," like, just screaming and cussing?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, me too. I do that as a parent. I'm not even gonna lie about it, but it is technically a trauma listed on this fucking questionnaire. I hate that question so much because
First
every
of
time
all
I'm like,
yeah,
"I
I
do
know.
that.
I know.
I do that. I do that."
I do I do too, and it's even worse because I have a child that has both types of ADHD, and we're getting ready to have them tested to make sure that there's nothing else going on. So like, but it's like I talk to him, I talk to him, I talk to him, they're like, you know.
Yes, and now it really is not done in the same vein that it was, like, when my boys were little. It really now is like, "Would you just fucking go do that?" And I'm sorry, but, I'm not perfect. That's not going away. So, you know what I mean? Like, I'm a cusser, first of all. It's
I am too.
if I'm just talking to my children in a normal tone and being like, "You are not gonna fucking believe this," and I do because, or
Mhm.
if Charlie would tell me and I'll go, "You're fucking kidding me. Oh my gosh." Like, I cuss. Welcome to my world, I cuss.
Yeah,
So some
no,
of
it's
that
the
is like,
same thing. And my kids, once they hit a certain age, like, I'd probably let them cuss way younger than, like, most people would, but it's me and my kids. When we're out in public and they're talking to somebody else,
Yeah.
then it's a total but it's my mine between me and my kid. Nobody's gonna tell me how to have that relationship, you know?
Well, it was funny because I didn't let Bryson cuss at all. He didn't really try either, because he was scared shitless of me, but Jake at, like, by 16 was cussing. I mean, it wasn't like it wasn't like he didn't cuss as much as I do. You know what I mean? Not in front of me,
Yeah.
but not until, like, he had been cussing for a little bit in front of me. But Bryson was like, "What the fuck? He's just allowed to cuss in front of you?" And I was
Uh-huh.
like, "I mean, what at this stage, are you serious? Like, we're trying to keep the boy out of prison. Yeah, I don't give a shit if he cusses.
Right?
Come
Like,
on."
a cuss word is the least of my concerns.
Yes.
At
I was like,
least
"Yeah."
he's letting something out, okay?
Yeah, and I kinda wonder Charlie's a little good girl rule follower, so I don't know what she'll be like. I don't she I'm curious to watch her personality develop and see. I mean, I kinda hope she's not like this huge cusser like me, but whatever. Like, if
Even
she
my
is, it's
rule
whatever.
follower, even my straight A rule follower and teacher pet, everybody, nobody has beef with this with one of my kids. I have one of my kids, my youngest daughter, nobody in the family ever has beef with her. Like, and everybody fears having beef with her, even though she's the calmest, even though she's the chillest. But it's also if you have beef with her, like everybody knows, like if you have beef with her, then there's something you did.
You might
Like,
be the problem. You might
yeah,
be the problem.
and it's funny because everybody in the family, even like all of her teachers, like, there'll be situations because she does theater, so there'll be situations where another kid will have an issue with her, and the theater teacher's like, will message me because we're friends, and he'll be like, "So I just wanted to touch base and make sure that Jocelyn's okay," and
Yeah. That's so cute. So, when do you have your first kid?
I had Giselle at 18.
Okay, and, were you living with a parent at the time or with baby daddy?
Baby daddy didn't have anything to do with anything with her throughout her entire life.
Oh,
The
okay.
biological one.
Yeah,
Um, even after she tried contacting, but I kinda hid it from her for like 12 years.
yeah.
But yeah, no, I had her, I was pretty much by myself. The person that, is her like, helped raise her or whatever is who she calls dad.
Okay.
Um, him and I were, like, in this on and off because I had done him hit wrong. So I was taking a whole bunch of crap from him at that point in time because he was being petty, and I was trying to get back into the relationship because, of course, I couldn't be rejected, I can't handle that, I put up with a whole lot of crap during the pregnancy, like a whole lot of heartache during the pregnancy.
Oh, okay. I see. Well, and it sounds like you have a history then of some, like, self-sabotage when things are a little too calm, and
Oh,
then your
yeah.
little
Addicted to the
anxiety, like, as
chaos
soon as the
because the
chaos
chaos
is
is scary,
entered,
or
you're like,
chaos
"Yes,
is normal.
okay. I know how to fight for love." There's your little repeating pattern is that you're not safe in your nervous system in your body unless you're fighting for someone's love.
Mhm.
Okay, that makes sense, that makes sense. I
Which it really does make sense with very early on traumas because my mom couldn't handle me and I was bounced around so much
Mhm.
my aunt Sela, who I'm named after.
Oh.
Like, yeah, I spent a lot of time, like, the between 1 and 2, I spent a lot of time with her and my cousins, and then also a lot of time with my grandmother. When my aunt said, "I want to adopt Sela, we want, I can give her a good life. I love her as my own. We already do, da 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 da." My mom sat back and thought about it and said, "I can't do that. I can't give up my child." And then that's when my mom, which at 15 or 17, living in Las Vegas in the '80s, it wasn't the best, the easiest place for a single mom, definitely.
Mhm.
It still isn't. It's still ridiculous to try to live there. But yeah, so there was a lot of bouncing around that I did at very young ages.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
a lot of
that
rejection in your history.
a lot of rejection, and then my stepdad was very, 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 verbally abusive. There was
Mhm.
some physical, and he would make up lies on me to get me in trouble with my mom too. Um,
Ew.
you know Yeah, yeah, And then I think the biggest thing that really hit me when I was younger at the age of 10 was losing my brother.
Mm,
Yeah, that losing my brother because even though we had argued a lot, we were really, really close. And
yeah,
then just that all of a sudden gone out of my life. No more,
yeah.
no idea, didn't talk to him, nothing, just gone, you know?
How did that happen?
My stepdad was an alcoholic and, on and like, did all kinds of different drugs, and he had come home with my brother had, shaved eyebrows and a shaved head, and my, stepdad did too, and he came home intoxicated and under the influence of other things as well, and my mom said, "Enough was enough, I can't do this anymore. Like, I can't continue doing this." She had left several times prior to that, but went back, trying to
Wow.
fix it, and then she was just like, "I'm done. I can't do this anymore."
Yeah.
And then so we moved out, we moved in with my aunt, and, that was it, and then my brother told my mom, "Oh, I don't wanna have anything to do with you anymore," because he was angry, and so there was contact lost.
That
Yeah.
sucks. Have you ever reconnected?
We have actually a few years ago, I actually seen him. When my husband's mother passed away, we took a trip up to Washington to see his sister that was, physically incapable of making it to the funeral.
Uh-huh.
So we went up there and, we went back and I got to spend the day with him. Unfortunately, I don't remember very much of it because we were doing a lot of traveling, and that's when the
Yeah.
traveling really, really messed with my head, and I was still in heavy addiction and trying to figure out places to get high on the road is not that easy.
Oh my
You
god, I
know?
bet.
You know?
Damn. Okay, so then what I don't think you've really said on this show, so we talked about it before we hit record, but what precipitated you healing and learning about your trauma?
Well, one was a trying to get clean, because I would knew because of I knew it was a physical addiction, and I knew that I didn't have a relapse in me. If I relapse, then I might be addicted again for the rest of my life. Like, I will be right back in the same situation that I got I worked so hard to get out of. And that was literally probably about 7 years ago. And it was like, I gotta figure out why I keep running to the drug.
Uh-huh.
Um, and I just said, okay, I need to meet myself where I'm at and just do some major reflection. And I was like, okay, where do I start? Well, I'm going to start with my second marriage where I got where everything is so fresh in my mind on and especially when I would have the flashback seizures,
Mhm.
I need to work on that. I need to get that part. I need to get the anger because my emotionals regulator in my brain was damaged during the head injury. So I needed to figure out ways to get that under control, and I needed to figure out why I was doing it, what was going on, and so I just kind of did a little bit of researching, and then what happened was, so, to go back a little bit, I went from one abusive relationship into another abusive relationship that I felt was just a little bit more, um I didn't recognize. I didn't
Okay.
wanna see it. I didn't wanna see it for what it was. I wanted to be blind to it. I wanted because there was security there. And there was huge love bombing, and there really truly is a connection, you know what I mean? So, there was abusive and then 2 years ago, there was an incident that happened, there was an argument, and he reverted back on into an old trauma pattern that he had stopped for a while, and, physically hit me, physically locked me, was, like, kept me from leaving, and then, that threw me into such panic mode with my head injury and everything, I just went into full they would throw me into basically full psycho, like psychotic episodes,
Mhm.
where I wouldn't make any sense, I would be frantic. To me, I'm making sense, but to the outside of somebody just stepping in from a blind eye would have no idea, and I think God showed me. 'Cause there was a moment where we were left alone and I was sitting at the end of the bed and I'm on the floor and I'm leaning like kind of on the bed and I don't know what he said, but I remember him saying something to me. And it was literally like God had taken me out just long enough to see that there was a manipulation going on. And then boom, I was right back in and I was living that experience. And I had went away for a little while, went to my cousin's for a couple weeks. It was already like we were already gonna do it. I was going up there to help take care of my uncle and stuff like that while she was out of town and stuff. And I spent some time up there in the mountains. Um uh then we already discussed that like I have some abilities and it was up by Travis Lake in um Texas. Very, if you go off of energies, it's pretty crazy place, but I remember just feeling just, I would be sitting outside on the back porch and it's just forest, and, uh, all of these and this is gonna sound crazy, but I'm telling all of these spirits came out, and I call them my shaman. It It goes against all church presbyteries and all this, but I don't care. That really started because I started getting into tarot, and it's something that I was really, really interested in my entire life, but I was always told, "Don't go there." And
Demonic. Yeah.
the very second I went there was the second that I started awakening,
Mhm.
because you have to learn yourself before you can learn the cards. You have to learn
Right.
you in
Well,
order
because
to know the
you're the
card.
interpreter.
Yeah,
So, like,
exactly.
you have to be able to touch in with yourself and go because, like,
And
whenever
I
I'm given symbols and stuff, it's all through the things I know, you know?
exactly. And I had really prayed on it, right? Before I got into tarot, before even like before the thought of it again when entered my head, because it had entered multiple times throughout my life. The knock on the door happened, but I just didn't open the door. I just couldn't figure out what I was feeling, So I was praying and I was like, God, I know that you're talking, but I'm not understanding. Give me words. I Give me
Mhm.
a place where I need words, And that's what I was told or I heard the tarot. And I was like, at first, though, that goes against all understanding. Like that goes against everything that I was taught. But then I heard, you're you and trust yourself, you know, and trust it. So I went through it, and that was the beginning of the awakening. And then that's when I had the moment of the being pulled away, because at that time I was trying to align with what I'm meant to do, which is looking through the glass. So on the way back from spending 2 weeks away and doing all the tarot readings, and I know people say you can't do them on your own, but I don't believe that.
Yeah.
Believe that I was meant to do my own readings because that's how I
Yeah.
communicated.
Yeah.
And I
Lots of
mean,
people do
and
their
now
own.
yeah, that I know a lot of people were like, because I have some readings up on YouTube, and people were like, there's a very specific one, but they were like, you can't do your own reading. I'm like, well, that's what
Oh
you
my god,
learn
I
to do
hate the
first.
legalism, yeah.
Yeah, that's what you learn to do first is yourself.
Yeah.
Like, if you
That's
don't
so
know your own
weird.
energy
I
and
Now
what's
I
your
will say
own.
this, I don't trust any of it when I do it for myself, I will say that, like, because I'll be like, "Well, I'm pretty sure that means this," because I don't read my own cards unless I'm wanting a specific answer to something. And so
So anyways, I'm coming home. I still spend a couple of extra days and I'm in midst of my addiction at this time. I have not stopped. I do not know how to quit. I don't know how I'm going to get there, any of that. And I spend my whole time just really getting high because I needed to numb. But at the
yeah.
same time, I spent so much time doing uh the esoteric type of things, and a lot of meditation, a lot of journaling, a lot of just going on. But yeah, those three shaman came out and they talked to me and they followed me home.
Wow.
They followed me. I know it sounds weird, but they followed me home. If you have other people walk into my office, you'll be someone like you probably would be able to walk in and go, nope, right there, right there, right there. Like they followed me home.
Wow.
And that's when I heard you need to come out and talk and tell everybody about your drug addiction. And I said, fuck you. Nope.
Oh, the one thing I've been trying to hide from everyone? No
Yeah.
thanks.
The one successful thing I've been able to hide, no, F you, I'm not.
I
There was
would oh.
yeah, I was like, "No," and I heard, "You're gonna have to let all the skeletons out of your closet. You have to let all the skeletons out of your closet." And so then I came home and then I was like, "All right, well, Giselle, you wanna
Yeah.
start a podcast?" And
Wow.
And that's how we started looking through the glass, and then I mean, we didn't know where to start, we just started a YouTube, and we just started doing my goofiness and showing me literally, there's videos of me while I was still getting high, and there's videos of me all the way to the podcast, and now the podcast.
Wow. Well, I mean, especially considering your history with addiction and a brain injury, it's really cool that you've learned so much about why you do the things you do. Like, I mean, props to you for real, because overcoming addiction in itself is huge. But then to actually, there's so many people who do, and nothing to take away like from their progress, but you've heard the saying dry drunk. Like, there's so many people who go through
They're still
programs, but then
so
they
wounded.
never address all the shit that fucking drove them to do the shit in the first place. And something that I have, like, I don't know, it's a pain point, is that, like, Jake once referred to himself as a drug addict, and I remember feeling like a zap to my system from that because I was like, "Well, no, you're not. You just used" literally, I'm like I never said this out loud, but I was like, "No, you just use drugs to cope. Like, that's that's not
Well,
addiction."
because you understand that, because that is what a drug addict does, is use
Yeah, and it's
drugs
not like
or
it
it
informed any of the decisions I made.
yeah,
I hated that he was labeling himself that because I wanted him to see why he did the things he did, that there was a root cause. Like, this isn't about you just like drugs. Like, yeah, I get that you
yeah,
like drugs, but like you like the escape of drugs. And there's a
yeah,
reason that you want to escape. And we could work on that. But I didn't know shit. And he thought, well, that's not true. That's not true. It's not fair to say that because he did listen a lot. But there was lots of things that he was like, and after the fact, now I realize how much I think I feel his love the most in how much he wanted me to feel like I was helping him. You know what I mean? Like, very good at telling me what I wanted to hear, very good at pretending to care about things. I haven't gone back like super far in our text messages, but I did go back about a year's worth. And I'm glad I was in a good mood that day because really all I could do was laugh at all the lies because it was like him being sweet and funny and whatever, but, always knowing exactly what I was wanting to hear. And I think he wanted to be what I wanted him to be, but, like, he also really wanted to do drugs, like, really fucking wanted to do drugs. So there's so many people who just haven't figured out why I do the things I do. And that's why I really struggle with some of the diagnosis that we have. Like, I
yeah,
really struggle to see people get diagnosed with a personality disorder because I'm like, they're labeled as the hardest to fix because they're a personality disorder. In my opinion, they're the easiest if you care even a little bit about it, like, yes, it's the hardest if the person has no awareness, it's the absolute hardest because you can't the ego is truly unable to see itself. So
Yes.
without some sort of
If you don't
spirituality
have some
or a
ego
paradigm
deaths,
shift, yes, exactly. So if they don't have the slightest awareness, that's that.
I really did have to experience that ego death, and maybe that's what that was, at that moment that pulled me out. Maybe that was me going that was the beginning of my ego death, you know?
Maybe.
I don't know.
Awakenings
I
are
mean, I
so
haven't
weird,
been
though.
touched. I haven't, like, even through all of this and stuff, um, he has been extremely calm and extremely, of course, if it's not, sorry about your luck, dude. Yeah, but I mean, and it's really crazy because it kind of shows a little bit more to me that what he is experiencing is an addiction as well, similar to the one that Giselle experienced, because Giselle's like, "Mom, da da da,"
Yeah, she told
and
me about that. I mean,
yeah.
privately, but yeah.
Well, yeah, but it's okay. It's like I have full permission. Like he's given me full permission. Like he's like, no, talk about it. I don't. You he's wants to talk about it on our pod on looking through the glass.
Yeah, which is
Um,
a great I mean, honestly, that says a lot
it says a
because
whole lot more than anything
most
I've ever seen
people
before.
exactly. Most people
Be-
if
Because he
there
could go
was an
into full
interest in
ego mode.
protecting himself, that would be worse.
No,
You know what
when
I
I
mean?
came home and I only got four different females. One of them we talked to. Um,
Can I pause you for a second? Because the audience is not gonna have a single clue what we're talking about.
okay.
So, to catch everyone up to speed. So you've been doing this beautiful work over the last 2 years thinking life is fucking looking up.
Yeah.
Let's be real, right? Like when I
Yeah,
met
no, yeah,
you,
no, you're
you were at a
100%
real high
right, I was
point. You
doing
were like, things are
everything
going
right.
great. Exactly. Things are going great. You were like, my fucking husband, I'm so lucky. Like, we
Yep,
have the greatest marriage, all these things. That was just a few months ago. And
yep,
then not long ago, you discovered some infidelity. And you are now right in the middle of figuring that out
yeah,
and what to believe, what not to believe. You're paranoid, you're hurt, you're betrayed, you're all the things. You're going to hours and hours a week of therapy together, I think.
yeah,
Is all of it
together
together?
and separate. We're doing
Okay.
it together and individual. He's doing,
Okay.
yeah, so there's been a lot of step up.
Yeah, yeah, which is
A lot
great.
of step up. And like I
Okay, but I
said,
have a question about this.
yeah,
Because, I'm dealing with my own shit, obviously, so, like, I texting all of this is, like, hard, so I haven't, like, been able to ask you the things I wanna know, so here's me being nosy.
yeah, no, ask away,
Okay.
man, I'm open.
Uh, from a heart place, intuitively, I feel like well, aside from you've been very honest about, like, I would have just walked away if I could financially support myself, so there's that.
Mhm.
But I also think that you're trying to have a wider view of this. He's asked you not to leave. Yes?
He said he wants our relationship to work, yes, but he's here for me for the healing part, regardless. He's showing up as my best friend who I've had supposedly, all these years, the best that can. He wants a certain outcome, but he understands that I may not be able to.
Okay, but your desire, aside from the security we've talked about, your desire to try to make it work, is it because you are trying to forgive him in the way that you're learning to forgive yourself? Or is it if this is kind of a rude question, but is it
Nah.
mostly the security thing? Because that's what it would be for me.
Well, that is a great question because one of the stipulations that I put when I said I'm willing to go to counseling with you or this and that is that, and I straight up told him, due to all the added head injuries on me, um, you know, uh, you're going to make sure that I'm okay for the rest of my life. I'm gonna have the freedom to make the decision of that I'm not gonna be completely desolate and left to for my kids to take care of me basically, because that's what I'm looking at,
Because
that
you're
there
quote
would be
unquote
support.
disabled. I mean, you're labeled as a disabled person because of your head injuries.
Yes. Yeah,
Yes.
exactly, and I told him, I was like, "One of your hits could have been the reason why I can't work today."
Yes, because something that we didn't really name is that this relationship has been abusive.
This be relationship has been a very abusive relationship, and it was like, so we've been like, to me, I was like, "Oh, we're doing great," and then because 'cause he's been working on the anger thing, because it was not always abusive, it was abusive, then he worked on things, he had things under control, and then boom, abuse happened, and then boom, 2 weeks later, that's when the second abuse happened 2 weeks later, so it was like bam, bam, right back to each other, and that's what catalyzed me into looking through the glass. But
Right. Okay.
yeah, so, uh,
So
what
why do
was
you
it?
think that the question was, are you mostly staying because of the security or are you trying to forgive him in the way that you're learning to forgive yourself?
I think, in all honesty, I'm trying to forgive him in the way that I'm learning. I'm trying to come at this from a place of love. Even
Yeah.
though I'm injured, even though I was done wrong, even though in all humanity, I can be petty, I can be angry, I can be all these things, but what good is it gonna do me?
Yeah.
In
I
all
feel that.
honesty, that's only gonna keep me stuck where I don't like. I don't like
Yeah.
feeling this pain, I don't like feeling the anger, I don't like even when the anger comes up and I'm even righteously so,
Yes.
I
Yeah.
I don't deal with it because I'm not the same traumatized, trigger happy person that I
Mhm.
was 2 years ago. Um,
Yeah.
or and prior to that, and, when his behavior started getting more and more to the point where I was like, "Something is really going on." There's
Mhm.
just something really, really is going on, and all the signs and stuff, and, shit, I forgot what I was saying.
I love you. Um Well, we're in the middle of talking about, um I do this exact same thing. We're in the middle of basically talking about why you're choosing love.
Okay, yeah. Um, I don't really fully understand yet, I want
Okay,
like,
I
I
like
it's
that
something I'm
answer.
still kind of working out, but I do have the security and the openness of because I was like, "No, I'm choosing me this time. I have chosen us, the kids, and everything, and this relationship all these years, and it has not helped me in my traumas. And that's where I'm at right now is one, the person that's showing up today compared to the person that's been showing up is really difficult to just walk away from.
Yeah. So then let me ask you this, because I think doing all things from love is the goal. That's what we should all strive to do. It's mostly not what I do in my relationship. I'll just be honest, I'm such a giant bitch, but that's fine. Um, but I'm wondering if you sit still with yourself and you say, if I'm leading from a place of love and compassion for me,
Mhm.
what that tells you. Does it change anything? If you're only loving you, what does love for you in this say to you?
And that is the very question that I have been asking myself for the past 2 months, and, I'm not exactly sure. I'm the person that goes guide, guidance, 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 guidance.
So you're kind of just looking for your next step,
Yeah,
each
and
next
I'm just
move.
kind of
Yeah.
feeling it out right now and just going,
And I love that.
I am opening myself to every possibility.
Yeah, I like that.
Instead of
I
closing
like that you're
myself
not
off.
rushing yourself, you're not saying
No.
I wanna name this very, very specifically. What I don't see you doing, which I just am so in love with, is you're not going, "Well, a healed person would never do this. A healed person would always do this." Like, you really have gone, "My humanity tells me it's totally fine to not know what the fuck to do in a situation like this." Because you have 2 kids at home, yes?
Yes.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
they're how
one's
old
getting
now?
ready to graduate, and the other one's the youngest is 13.
Yeah, so that's something to consider,
It
and
absolutely is.
you're just going, "I don't wanna be this reactive, make a split-second decision person that I've been in
Exactly.
the past." And I've seen your social media posts, so I know that you're really sitting in all of it. Like, you're allowing every single thing, not just open to all the possibilities, open to all the emotions, because I believe that, and I know that you believe this too, but it's not that I think your husband has been unfaithful so that you can learn something, but I do think that we can learn something from everything, you know? I
Absolutely.
and I think that's what you're trying to do, and I think it's beautiful that you're not coming up with some fucking long-term plan right now because do they
What
work?
good is that gonna
No.
do me?
Exactly.
In all honesty,
Exactly.
the one thing I've learned through this journey, of healing and getting clean and sitting in my own shit and sitting in everybody else's shit that's been landed on me, and just kinda sorting through and just going, "Okay, this is mine, this isn't mine, this is mine, this isn't mine," and that's kind of where I'm at, but at the same time, I'm going, if this is an addiction, and even if it isn't an addiction, either way, he's a human being and
Mhm.
he's going through it too. And I can sit here and go, screw him. He could be as nice to me as he wants. It's all love bombing. It's all this and it's all that. And don't get me wrong, I'm fully aware of manipulation and all of that.
Sure, sure.
But at the same time, what did I want showing up for me when I came to him about my addiction?
Right.
I don't owe him shit, but to me, and to be as faithful and honest with me and who I am, that
Yeah.
is the type of person I am. Is
And
you've
I
done me
I
wrong.
I appreciate that. I really can, because that's what all this is supposed to be about, where you can look at someone and see yourself in their actions, because it would also be perfectly fine. Let me say this so that I don't get any shit for this. It would also be perfectly fine if you had said, "Fuck you, I'm out."
Yeah,
That would be
absolutely.
totally
I have every right.
every right.
More than
And
enough
it
evidence to
and
say
so
you should
just to
run.
name that, we're putting that out.
Yeah.
We know abuse is not okay. We know all the
No.
things, but that's not the fucking conversation we're having. So get off my nuts. Imaginary people right now. That's
No, I
not what
hear
this
you. I hear you
conversation's
because
about.
I do because I am a person that looks outside of me for confirmations, for
Yeah.
my own and validations for my own emotions, and it's something that I'm really learning to not do.
Mhm.
And I'm getting on my own case about stuff like that. So yeah, it is something that absolutely needs to be said because people are going to be up there going, "She should have left the very second." And, da, 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 da."
Right. Yeah, oh, absolutely.
And
Like,
that's all
it's
fine and
your
dandy, and
fault for
everybody can say what
saying
they
blah, blah,
want
blah. Yeah, yeah.
because they're not
But we're
telling me
not here to
anything
talk
that
to those
I don't already
people.
know. Yeah.
Right, yeah, you're not our people. If you're not in this conversation with us to hear the humanness here, then,
Mhm.
I mean, thank you for the download, but you're not our people, like, it's just that's fine. But the I'm so curious because, well, because I feel your heart in this, and so that's why I'm asking the questions I'm asking, because I'm curious from a person who, like, also makes mistakes and sees myself in people and go, Yeah, I kinda see how that happened. You know, like, I it's just
And trying
I
to
see that.
navigate that and not put yourself in more shit, you know?
Right.
And I'm
Well,
just
because
being
we can
honest.
pathologize the shit out of things and quote unquote make excuses a
Yeah,
lot because we are used to doing that too. So
yes.
like we
So
there can be a trap here where you
yeah.
start to see things too much from their perspective instead of going, but what do I need? And there that's
Mhm.
fine. Again, that's I just feel like
But
that's a
you know
separate
what's been
conversation.
amazing? What has been amazing is the other way that he's showing up for me is he's doing research on how he needs to show up by from, other podcasts. There's lots of podcasts and lots of people out there that specialize in these kinds of things. And he's going there and he has not allowed me because I had tried in multiple ways because this is what I do as my trauma reactive self take upon his cheating is now my fault for some reason.
Right. Well, I did
And
notice in the beginning that you were taking a little too much
I was
responsibility.
taking way too much
And
and
I was like,
he
"Honey, what
he
the fuck? I'm about to come slap you because you hadn't told me what had happened, but I knew."
you
And so
know.
I could tell based off what you were saying. I was like, "Okay, so your husband cheated. All right."
Uh-huh.
Um, but I was like, "Hold up, hold up, hold up. Are you actually blaming yourself for this?" I'm like a
And I
witness back here looking at your social media post being like, "It's not your place. Shut the fuck up."
No, it absolutely is your place. Tell me to shut the fuck up, girl. That you call me out on it because that's what friends do and that's what I need. But he has stood there and when I would be like because we have had some of the best conversations since finding this out, and it's kinda like I told our therapist is I'm an opportunistic type of person, and I look at this as not something that's happening to me, but something that's happening for me. I needed to know the truth, and I couldn't,
Yeah,
for all the reasons, and for him to do what he needs to do to come forth with me to move forward because I'm moving forward, and he stopped working on himself. And there was this also other area that he refused to look at,
right.
but no, he would stop me and he would, grab my shoulders very calmly and go, this isn't your fault. It has nothing to do with you. I did this in past relationships and I did not heal what I needed to heal. This is not your fault. So when your perpetrator, is telling you, if you want to have the victim mentality and look at it like that, is looking at you telling you, stop taking this on, you see a different person. Like I've
Yeah, and I think I can understand, like, if a person's actually trying to change and and they're saying, like because you don't go do these compulsive things like get into some fucking online relationship with someone, whether you meet up with them or not. You don't do all that without dopamine seeking. The same goddamn reason you did what
exactly.
you did. It's the same
It was the
fucking
and
thing you
that's
did.
exactly how and he asked me too when he told me, he goes, "Can we look at this as my addiction, and can we make today or whatever the date is, can we go forth from there?" So, I'm trying to show up even though I don't owe him anything, but that's just who I am. You
Yeah.
know, he was there for me through my addiction. He did hold me up and hold me when I needed it. He did tell me that I wasn't a horrible person and because I did
Mhm.
drugs. He was there and supported me through mine, and I don't
It
have to.
probably made him feel like less of a piece of shit, to be honest. It might
Well,
have actually
probably
helped him a little bit. I mean that, like, in
and
a
I
good
believe
way.
also that, when you have what's going on in mine and Giselle's life and what we're doing and stuff like that, it's a ripple effect.
Mhm.
And I believe in that ripple effect, and I believe
Yes.
that's what's taking place, and
I
I
do
I
too.
honestly believe that the creator, God, the designer, whatever you wanna call it, whatever you believe in all honesty, is going, "Whoop, nope, you can't go forward with her unless you do this."
That's exactly
And
right, because otherwise
That
but he was
low
just gone.
vibration cannot go
Yeah,
forth with me and my
right,
higher frequencies.
right, and so you had to know, so it's good that you
And
know
I
now,
and then
and
when even when he
I can
came with
imagine the
me,
relief he feels because shame compounds when you know this. But
I
shame
know.
compounds when you're hiding who you
It
have been in
absolutely
your
does.
darkest places, and so to have it out there and a chance for accountability and somebody to help you make better
W
choices,
well, and
it's
we're sitting here,
so much easier.
I'm also watching somebody else I know that's just found out that her husband cheated on her, and, I'm not gonna put any, but she's dealing with the opposite. She's dealing with the finger pointing, "It's your fault." She's dealing with,
Mhm,
even
and that's
though
different.
and
Yeah.
that's and why and going and I to me, I'm like, "That's kind of God showing me this could be what you're dealing with." You know
Right.
and then
Well,
but
you
you're
that because
getting
that's the
this.
thing. If you can want it to work all day, every day, but if you're married to somebody who, like, flat out doesn't
Refuses
take
to take on any
responsibility,
accountability
yeah,
or yeah,
then they're still gonna abuse you, so you gotta leave. But, like,
yeah.
as long as you're focused on learning to forgive this while continuing to do the work in you, what's wrong with going, if I see that we're aligned in where we're going? Great. If at any point I see we are no longer aligned, then I will know it's time to leave. There's nothing wrong with that. I
Especially
don't
if
think.
I'm now safe. I'm now safe.
Yeah, I was about to say because he's not actively abusing you.
No.
You're not. Yeah. If he was, I'd be like, What do you need?" You know.
Yeah,
But he's not.
right, and I told him too, like, at the beginning, and part of it was out of anger, but also it was I just looked at him, I said, "I'm not dealing with this alone." God has put a community around me and has put people in my lives to help me analyze this, to help me cope, to help me handle and call me out, and to help me in so many ways. And I will not deal with this alone anymore because while I was maintaining your reputation, you were talking bad about me. And I'm a type of person, when you talk bad about somebody, you talk bad over them as well. So all of this time, you're putting you know,
Bad
voodoo on me,
juju.
bad juju over me and on me all of these years, but that's not my karma to deal with, and that God will make sure that he handles it however it needs to be handled. I'm just sitting in the, "Okay, well, what are my options?" And I'm just gonna stay open to them, because who knows? He made me fall in love with him multiple times before, you know? And
Yeah,
now cheating is the deal breaker for me. Um, that is the deal breaker for me.
that's your
So for me,
ultimate betrayal.
that is the ultimate betrayal. And it was funny. I told my therapist when I first the morning that I found out. I was like, "I'll put up with a man hitting me, but I won't put up with them cheating on me." And she goes,
Was she
"Why?"
mortified?
Yes, she absolutely was, but it was the truth coming out. It was the truth coming out that I was willing to put up with somebody putting their hands on me and betraying that, but I'm not willing to put up with the
Mhm.
cheating betrayal. And it kind of
Right.
and she was like, "Why, Sela? Why?" And I was like, "I don't know why." So I'm sitting with that too of why. Why would I be more
Well,
willing to?
because I mean, you didn't ask me, but, I
No,
think
I did.
it's easier to sit with something that's so familiar to you. You've been beaten your whole life, so that's, at least he's sorry and is trying. Like, it's easy for you to justify that because you love a lot of people who have hurt you. So,
Yeah.
it's easy for you to forgive that because you have a lot of practice in forgiving being abused. And because you haven't forgiven yourself for being abused, there's a whole component there where we have to forgive ourselves for the things that have happened to us because ultimately we did somewhere real deep we're not always aware of it, but you do blame yourself, especially when the shit starts in childhood.
Oh,
The
yeah.
All of childhood programming is it's my fault. Like when people's parents get divorced and you never understand why a kid would be like, it's my fault, but they do. Everything is seen from a child's point of view. So everything is about them. It's very egocentric.
Mhm.
So there is a piece of you that has never forgiven yourself for all of the things that have ever happened to you. So it's easy for you to go, oh, because if you extend that forgiveness to them, it's a little bit like forgiving yourself. It lets you off the hook a little bit. A hook,
Yeah.
by the way, you never needed to be on because it wasn't your fucking fault, but you are very used to that. Sexual crimes in marriages are different for a couple of reasons because um you likely struggle with some self-esteem shit, and it's easy for you to feel like it is because of you.
Mhm.
So
Oh, yeah, especially being a heavier girl my entire
right,
life. Oh, yeah.
right, right. So
Immediately,
you
"Oh,
came
you wanted
in
the skinny one," you know?
right, exactly. So you came in to all of your relationships with this baggage that was like, I'm really kind of not good enough for this relationship. And so anytime you are attracted to me in any way, I'm going to take that as all the validation I've ever needed and wanted because I don't know how to feel good about myself without that
Without
external
that.
shit. Mhm.
Yeah.
So then you take the one thing that made me feel better about myself and give it to someone else. Well, how can you forgive that? Because
Mhm.
it is the only thing that you had within this relationship that made you feel like, okay, I can kind of view myself as valuable here because he likes me. He thinks I'm attractive. He that, you know what I mean? And it all, again, it's about like forgiving yourself. So I just think it's easier for you to forgive all these other people because you're so used to it. But this one, and I also think this was a line you drew in your head a long time ago to, to put, like, yourself on a pedestal a little bit, like, this is what we do as humans, is that we go, "Well, I would never do that." Like, if my man did that, you know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
it's so it's a line where you were like, "Okay, I can stay up to this point," and it gave you a false sense of control. You can beat me, but you cheat on me and I'm out.
Yeah.
Because you got to tell yourself it was a way of self-soothing, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
So
that
there's a
makes
lot that
sense.
goes into it, obviously, but
Well,
that's my
yeah, but that
quick
makes
out.
the self-soothing really, really makes a lot of sense. That it really
Well, and
does.
that's what we do. We will get up here and just all kinds of shit
All
just for a
yeah.
false sense of control, you know? Like,
Right?
even if I'm being real, all of the questions that you sit and ask yourself all the time are a way of self-soothing and looking for control. You have all the control you want if you want to choose to leave, but that's the part that's scary because you don't get control over income, you know what I mean, all that. So all of this is you trying to justify staying in the relationship and feeling some sense of control. So my advice about that would be if you're staying until whenever. Like quit getting up in these thought loops about, well, should I consider this? Should I da da da? Because that's all just fake. Feel your
Mhm,
shit, cry, whatever. But if you're staying, you're staying. I will make one decision a week. I'm staying this week
mhm.
because instead of going back and forth all the time about, well, how do I feel about this and how do I feel about this? It's not that some questions aren't worth your time, but I see you and you're spending a lot of time spinning out. And
Yeah.
so you want to spend less time spinning out because the spin out is all just you looking for control. If we can find a problem to chew on, our brain fucking loves that because
Oh,
that's
yeah.
all it actually knows how to do. That's the only thing it
Mhm.
knows how to do is just to go, What's every little piece of danger in my environment? Okay, and then what's the worst case scenario? Okay, and then what's the best case scenario? Okay, great. I mean, it's gonna do that. It would love for you to latch onto that, but that's not feeling. That's you trying to like mentally intellectualize and process something. But emotional processing, just is sitting there quiet, listening to the sensations of your body. Does your body need to cry? You know what I mean? Because that's something that I've really had to practice after losing Jake is at first, I had no control over the crying, and I didn't even try to stop it because I wanted to be very open in front of my children about crying and Brian, but mostly the kids. But as time's gone on, I've caught myself, like, where I'll be talking and then or not even talking, let's say I'm scrolling something and something starts to get to me, like, you know that thing where you like, squeeze your nose so that the cry stop because like, I start to feel it there, and I'm like so it'll stop? Caught myself doing that a few times, and I'm like, "Oh, shit." So, I if I'm noticing a lot of agitation or extra energy or whatever, and I'm like, "What the fuck?" I stop and I just like, where do I feel things in my body? And for some reason, I've been feeling little tingles, in places. So I'm like, okay, I feel it, I notice it, and then a cry will happen from my body. Like, I'm not thinking about crying, I'm not whatever, it just comes out, and I just let it do its thing. Last night, I cried hard for a while, and every time I thought I was done, I wasn't. I'm just
Mhm.
trying to not think about shit while I'm crying so that I'm not feeding things, but, like, I'm just allowing my body to do what it's wanting to do naturally, and then when it's over, I'm like, "Okay." And I was really tired after crying, so I was like, "I'm going night night." Well, actually,
Yeah.
Imma eat chocolate and I'm going night night. So I ate chocolate in bed and fell asleep watching Grace, but, I'm you just gotta stay out of your head, because life's questions aren't meant to be answered there. It's like, "What's my body
They're
telling me
meant to
to."
be answered here.
Yep.
And that's where I'm kinda staying, but I'm also I haven't I haven't made a decision. Like,
Yeah.
I haven't made the decision yet, and I've been very open and very honest because right now, especially with counseling and stuff, uh I told him I don't think I can go there. I honestly don't think I can go there. But the therapist is like, "Well, I'm talking with you guys, I still see your faces light up a little bit. I don't see all hope is lost." And she was like, "What you're going through, even with people that want to stay, you're going to feel. You're gonna feel that
Yeah.
block, you're gonna feel that coldness, you're gonna feel the lack of feelings, you're gonna feel all of that. It's normal." So I'm like, "Okay, all right, well, that's good to know."
Well,
But I still
because
am
you know
just
what you
thinking
make me
that
think of? I have this exact same dynamic with my husband, who, to my knowledge, has not been unfaithful. So I keep those blocks. This is something that I noticed about 8 months ago. Like, that was my journey into learn, like, seeing all my subconscious patterns of where I push people away. I
Oh,
wanted to
yeah.
focus specifically on my relationship with him because I am a giant bitch to him. And so I wanted to figure it out. And I was like, "Oh, you know what? Like, I'm afraid of trust. I'm afraid that if I just trust that he's gonna make me look stupid or, because I used to go through his phone and shit. I was a psycho, okay? So just know that. But I would go through his phone and shit because not even because I thought you were really doing something, but, like, because if you are, I'm not gonna be the fucking last to know because 'cause you're not pulling one over like, I'm not gonna be the stupid one that doesn't know,
Yes,
blah, blah,
that's
blah.
how
You
I
know what I
was at the
mean?
beginning. That's
Yes.
exactly what it was at the beginning was,
Mhm.
like especially when there was because he didn't know how to come out with the full truth,
Yeah.
and I understand that, I do, but at the same time, it was like, you should have listened, because I honestly truly feel that there was a nudge, and the conversation that he was trying to come to me with was the girl calling him out saying, "Why are you on all these apps? You're better than that.
Mm.
Da, 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 da."
Yeah.
So, using and I just kind of like I said, I felt off of him and just little birdies in the ears, and I was like, "You're coming with me to at me with half truths." And I just told him, I
Yeah.
said, "I'm gonna let you know right now, God isn't gonna let you do that. Like, if this is a half truth and the more and more came out and this and that. But when I did come to him about the you've been with multiple women and this and that, that's when he just kind of held his head down and just took a deep breath and said, "Yes, I've been cheating on you for about 6 years on and off. I can't tell
Yeah.
you how many women, I can't tell you how many apps." And I was like, "That many, huh?" He goes, "Yes, that many." like that, like then the honesty started
The real
happening.
shit, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
which I appreciate, honestly. I get it, as some I kind of view this the way when I worked in school, other teachers would get so pissed about kids lying, like, you'd ask a kid, "Did you do that?" And they'd be like, "No." I mean, and you saw them with your own eyes,
Yeah.
"He lies about everything. He's a sociopath." And I'm like, "No, you
He's
have to
afraid.
feel really, really, really safe to tell the truth."
Yeah.
Period. Period, and
Mhm.
if you don't even feel safe inside your body, which obviously you don't, if you're a person who's out there trying to, get all
Seek
that shit.
attention and all that.
Yes, yeah, you don't feel safe in your body because you're just manic all the time is the best way to describe it.
Yeah.
Like, it's just very.
Well, and also not to put and I'm not taking anything on, but I have blockers and I've had walls too. And I
Yeah,
have and I he was telling me, he's like, "Well, I know this is the hardest thing you ever dealt with." I was like, "No, this is where you're mistaken, dude. This isn't the hardest thing I've ever had to deal with. It's just another." It's not the
yeah,
hardest thing. I think the hardest thing that I had to deal with was the realization that you hit me.
yeah.
You hitting me hurt me worse. Now I'm realizing and feeling more of an injury than the
Well,
infidelity.
yeah, and that's when your walls went up because you didn't
Yeah,
see
and
it
that's what I told
coming.
him. I was like, "There was a crack, there was a crack." I was like, "And right now, you need to understand that the infidelity put a crack in the timeline of our marriage."
Right.
So, when we were on vacation, I have a picture that Giselle bought of him and me, because we went on a cruise all together, her husband and her, and me and him, and, it's a picture of me and him holding up a heart, and it says Margaritaville or whatever, and, I had to turn the picture around because every time I walk into my office, I'm looking at it, and I'm like, "You were cheating on me at that time."
Yeah, yeah.
And that's what I had to explain to him. I was like, "You've put all of those happy memories that kept me, all of those good things are now questioned."
Oh.
You know? Well,
Well, and it just occurred to me too, you're going through grief because
yeah,
you're grieving what you thought you had, all of the
and what I
things.
thought that was solid, that
Mhm.
I what I knew that he would never do that to me. Like, and I think that was one of the things that also kept me, was the thinking that because he had been cheated on in some of the worst ways, he would never
Right,
do that to me because
right.
he knows what it feels like.
Yeah. Well, the thing that I had to come to for myself is that I wasn't even afraid of trusting him. I was afraid of trusting
Pushing
myself
yourself.
because whenever I got to the place where I understood no matter what happens, I'm enough. I'm going to be able to deal. Like, I don't need to sit around trying to predict everything that's going to happen in this
Yep.
relationship or in the world because whatever comes my way, I'm enough. Because I asked myself, what would happen if I were to just fully trust? And I was like, well, I mean, I guess the worst that could happen is he might cheat. Okay, and then what? Are you gonna die? Literally, do you think you're gonna die? And I was like, "No, I guess I was afraid I would, but yeah, like, I'm enough. I can deal with whatever happens."
I can tell you 2 years ago or even a year ago, finding this information out would have shattered me,
Oh,
and
absolutely.
I was nowhere near strong enough in myself and in who I am. I would have taken on everything and then multiplied it
Oh, your shame
so
would have been
hard
out of
out
control. You'd
of
have been like,
my
"Yeah, I
brain.
fucking
I
suck."
probably would have had to been committed somewhere to get seek and
Mhm.
medicated in order
Yep,
to, and I'm not kidding. I would have totally just lost my shit because he's been my world for so long.
yep.
And that the realization of the one thing that I had control over and promised myself was that the lie I told myself was that he would never cheat on me.
Yeah,
And he
that's
would
how you
never
kept yourself
abandon me
safe.
like that,
Mhm.
that was a pure lie that I was telling myself, where he is human, and, I shut down in areas, and I realized I told the therapist the other day in the bedroom, I didn't like, I shut down so quick, it even scared me, and I was like, wow, this is with me even trying to get past certain things, trying to see if I can get past certain things. And then I realized, no, I've been shutting down like that for years.
Yep.
For years, I have been shutting down like that. So
Well,
in
I
all of this.
think still learning how to trust your own body is gonna be so important for you.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. And that's what I've been doing, and that's what I've been just trying not to so much allow the brain, when the brain does start, I do my singing bowl, or I try not to do writing so much journalizing when I'm like in that state, because to me it makes it a little bit
Gonna
worse.
reinforce it, yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
I can't journal either because then I'm still hyper fixated. I have to, well, did I tell you about my favorite grounding technique?
No, you didn't.
Um, I have to just rapid fire name shit I see in front of me, like microphone, soda can, camera, ring light, like as fast as I can, and then it brings me back to the present. Now I'm here, I'm where my feet are. I can deal with like then I immediately go to my body. What are the sensations I feel in my body? And then I give myself what I would have wanted as a 5-year-old little girl every fucking time. Every time I go, it you know those feelings where you're like, "I just wish my fucking mom was here." She's there. What is she what am Imma be my own mommy right now, and I'm
Yeah,
like, "Baby, you didn't need that," or whatever it is. I say all the shit, and then, my body says, "I need to cry," and we cry, and then, maybe I'm gonna need a shower after that. Maybe I'm gonna need a walk. Have I eaten today? Because I probably need to
probably
eat.
haven't.
Water, you know what I mean? Shit
Mhm.
like that. I mean, it's a whole little thing, but within an hour I'm 100% different. And I love that you have your podcast because I know the conversations are to you what they are to me too. Like I know people look at me and wonder how the fuck I'm doing as well as I am and I'm like, it's my fucking podcast. And my therapy work. Cuz I don't work with people that I don't have this kind of vibe with. If I
Mhm.
cut them all. The second Jake died I cut him because I was like I can't do anything I dread. Anything that drags me
Yeah.
down at all because the weight of grief is so fucking heavy that you have to carry no matter what. So if any added weight to that and I'm sunk. So like I can't. I continue to do things that just make me feel really good. And that doesn't mean that 2 hours later I'm not crying, but like so? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's life is to experience it all.
Well,
But
I think we've all
overall,
been
I'm
taught that
able to live in love.
tears for some reason are the, like, I don't know, we all have this fear of tears, and
Yes.
and even as a person that always hated crying in front of people my entire life and all of that, now I am sitting here talking to you about something that I would have been so ashamed of. I would have been ashamed of
Yes.
somebody else's actions,
Yes.
but yet here
Yes.
I am just going, "Bleh, here it is."
Well, I know what that feels like because there is still a part of me that every single time, okay, honey, I'm gonna have to cut this right off because I'm doing a news story, but she's calling early. Shit.
It's
I'll
okay.
call her right back, but we'll have to wrap it up. Um, but I was just gonna say, I every time I go to share what happened with Jake, there's a small part of me that's like, I'm gonna be so fucking judged for this because my child took drugs that killed him. You know what I mean? But it's not thankfully, I have dealt with my parental thing before.
I wanna let you know before we do get off. You and in your healing and in your the way you've been showing up has been a huge inspiration for me. You have
Well,
in,
thank you.
you have inspired me to show up to my own for myself and for my own podcast and stuff when it was like the days it was like, well, she's doing it. I can do it. Like we're
Yeah.
not that different. If she can do it, I can do it. And she's dealing with something way heavier. I can deal with this. So I just wanted to let you know, and watching you in the beauty that you are and that you are becoming with all of this healing has been so inspirational and so magical. I wouldn't wish anything. I know it was the worst circumstances ever that anybody can ever experience, but you turned it into something that is how what's the best words I can I'm looking for the right words. But I just want you to know you have been a huge inspiration, Melissa, and I
Well,
think
I appreciate that so much. I love you. I'm so glad we got to have this conversation. There will be more.
yeah,
So,
absolutely.
um, I just appreciate your honesty.
Same. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I'm pressing stop.
Alright.
Thanks for coming to Emotionally Unavailable. If you haven't already, like, subscribe, and share.